Hello and welcome to Real WW Talk. I'm Rikki.
And I'm Candice.
So we've been doing this series. Candice, this has been such an amazing series, right?
I'm sad it's coming to an end. Like, I don't know. It's, you get so used to all the different perspectives. Not that I don't like talking to you alone, but
right, of course.
It's always great to hear from all of the wealth of wisdom that we've had over the past few weeks. I've been loving it.
Yeah. So in this last week, I know we typically do, all of September, but we just felt like we wanted a couple more voices in there. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about our guests today.
Okay.
Our first guest is just a local celebrity, really. Jay Sanders is our wonderful, wonderful friend from our meetings. Candice and I don't do the in-person meetings anymore, but it was always fun seeing Jay. We always knew that we were going to laugh if Jay was there. He's 70 years old, and he's been a WW member since 2007, retired since 2018 after 35 years in the Blue Cross Blue Shield system. Married 30 years to a wonderful woman named Wendy, who
Wendy's the best.
Wendy's the best. And she inspires him every day. He's a father of 3 children who are now in their 40s and a grandfather to 4 grandkids, all under 6. Sounds like Jay's busy. He was introduced to WW through WW at work. And if he attended 12 sessions, he got a $300 bonus. He initially went just to, grab the cash and go, but he got hooked once he made Lifetime in 2008. He drifted away for a bit and then found the local studio in 2016 where he met myself, Aaron, and Candice. And he's been a fixture at the 7:30 meeting, still is today, ever since. So that is Jay. And also, we're going to tell you a little bit about Gigi. So I came across Gigi and just loved her energy when COVID hit and those online meetings started. She is a wonderful WW coach. She's a wife and mom who joined WW at the suggestion of her doctor. When she started, she felt like it was a pause button was just released in her life. She was getting healthier, and it helped her to start living again. So now she loves traveling, being active. She teaches Zumba, which I definitely remember from her meetings. She was that coach that might be, on a bike or, moving definitely during her meetings, and she encouraged it during her meetings. She's obsessed with her Peloton as well. She's a WW coach, and she has been for 6 years. And she also coaches workshops for Latinas. So you can find the schedule and how to join her through the Connect group. And she loves helping people discover how to use the programs while still being themselves. All right. So without further ado, Gigi and Jay.
Yay! Welcome to WW.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
We're so excited to have you guys today. So it's a new month. We're just like the beginning of October. How are you guys feeling now that fall is kind of underway?
For me, anything below 75, I'm freezing. So I'm adapting. How about you, Jay?
Well, honestly, I think I'll go just the opposite. Having the temperatures drop below that 80% humidity has really been wonderful. And this can just continue all through winter, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm sure that Candice agrees with that.
Oh, I'm so there. I cannot stand it being like too hot. Like I'm all about it being just as cold as possible. I hate to say it like that. Not winter, but like this type of weather. Perfect for me.
Yeah.
Guys, I was so excited. I just have to say, like, Lifetime, I'm going to be honest, is not something I have ever actually attained. It's like a unicorn. Like I hear about it. I know that it exists. I know that there are members who hit it, but I've always been like close, but never gotten there. So to have both of you here and able to impart wisdom to our audience about what it is to kind of get to Lifetime or to hit those goals. We have a lot of people who have just started out in our community. As you know, we have about 11,000 in our Facebook group and other places. And a lot of them don't think that it's attainable. And I was just wondering from your perspective, where you all are, having done this for a while, you always hear the question, what's the one thing that you tell somebody who's like just starting out and new to the program or new to changing their life? How do they get from where they are to where you all sit now? What are your thoughts? Not to put you on the spot, you know.
Jay, you want to go first?
I'm happy to go first. You can think of a better answer that I'm about to give. I think that what I would tell anybody who is just starting out is really to just concentrate on the basics. Is an easy thing to say. What does that really mean? What it really means to me is measure your portions. Find out honestly what it is that you're eating each day. And then find out what you can begin to take away from that quantity of food that you've gotten used to. Don't obsess with doing everything perfectly, Candice, and don't worry because you're going to make 100 mistakes. But the fact of the matter is, you're now conscious about what it is that has been causing you problems. And by being conscious, you've already made a good first step. And now what you're really doing is you're fine tuning. So if something's very, very fuzzy, it's going to get clearer, but it's going to get clearer over time. And your success is going to come over time, despite the fact that there'll be people who will have immediate success. And you'll learn to just wonder what it is that they're really doing and why they won't tell you those secrets and all. There's no universal secret. You're the one that has to find your own secrets, but it comes with time.
I love that answer.
Yes.
And I have something that I'm all about, do what you enjoy, you know. So I agree with Jay, know how much you're eating. But I don't like measuring, for example, but I like knowing how many ounces are in this package. And then maybe that knowing that that's it helps me track. I enjoy tracking using the barcode scanner. Now the new photo tracking. Early in the journey, I started talking about I'm famous by my Louis Vuitton foods, right? Like my Puerto Rican foods that I used to eat, they were never in the app, so I had to get creative. So I started using the quick add and estimating points. Because my Tuesday workshop where I reached my lifetime status, they taught me that it's better than track, even if you're estimating points, that not tracking at all because you cannot be perfect. And like Jay is saying, they told me, oh, honey, you're not going to be perfect. You just have to do the best you can. So you might as well do things that the way you enjoy it so you can do them more often. So I'm all about having fun, gamifying my tracking, do activity. I do fun things. Peloton, it all started because I got FOMO. I have two friends that had Pelotons and I didn't. And then I could not do the cycle bar schedule. I didn't enjoy not being able to fit in me into the studio schedule. So Peloton was perfect. Then it was a game. At what time I'm gonna hit Peloton? Yeah, it's good that I don't have that membership. That was stressing me out because now I'm having fun finding the times that work for me. So to me, it's serious, know your why, but don't be so serious. Do things that you enjoy because that's the key to repeat. If you find a way to enjoy the weigh-ins, if you find a way to enjoy your tracking, your cooking, which I don't enjoy that much, even combining different foods from eating out so you can get away with managing your budget, but find a way to make it fun because it can be very hard.
Yeah.
It can be very hard. So find you in the program.
So I love how you said gamifying the, tracking. So how do you make tracking fun, Gigi?
Well, so I'm famous for the Louis Vuitton because I will not put rice, beans, chuletas, pernil. Yeah, I will not put the name of the foods. I will call them Louis Vuitton.
Oh.
Because nobody says, oh, I bought a Louis Vuitton purse, right? Like nobody dwell over it, right? So I wanted to learn how not to be embarrassed that the foods that I grew up eating they were so high in points. So I started calling LV, and I put LV, Louis Vuitton.
Okay.
And other times I call them red bottoms, things like that. Things that I don't have in my closet, but if I have them, I will wear them proud, right?
Yeah.
So that helped me to it's just a number, just track it, because knowing how many points you have is the secret to consistent weight loss and reach your goal and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you just said a word that I know when I think of Jay, I think of this. I think of consistent. That's something that I've been working on. Like Jay, without fail, is there, like, unless he's on vacation, he's there every single Saturday morning at 7:30, even when it was 6:30 or 7. You always knew that he was going to be there. And we've referenced you on the podcast because we've even talked about like walking outside. I feel like you're the king of like no excuses. Like, it's raining, I can't walk outside. He's like, so you don't have an umbrella? Like, I mean,
rain jacket.
The rain jacket. I don't understand what that has to do with having to walk outside. That's always my favorite Jay quote. Whenever I don't want to walk, I think of Jay saying, I don't understand, what does the walking have to do with the rain? But when you're thinking of consistency, like, and how that played a part in your journey, like, do you feel like that's one of the biggest pillars to being able to have the long-term success? Or is that, I mean, I would think it would be, but I was just curious if you could talk a little bit about that, because I struggle with staying consistent throughout the year. I would say I start off pretty strong. You have the lulls, you have the times where you're off, but getting back on track can be a little bit tough because I haven't established the consistency muscle. Maybe because I'm not gamifying it, Gigi. Maybe that's the thing I'm not doing. But I was just wondering if you could speak a little bit to consistency and what role that's played in your journeys.
Sure, if you don't mind, I'll jump in there, since you put me out there for everybody as a creature of habit, let's say. I think being a creature of habit helps with having consistency. I mean, by definition, you're going to be doing the same thing a lot of the time, or you're going to have comfort doing familiar things. And to me, being able to get up every Saturday morning, come into the group, do the weigh-in, whether it's a good weigh-in, a bad weigh-in, or indifferent, just it's an opportunity to find out where you are. It's an opportunity to find out what you did well, what you can improve on the next time. And then it's an opportunity to forget about that success after a brief celebration, or forget about that disappointment after a little bit of moping. It was hard in our 7 a.m. group to mope. The group did not let people sit there and suffer in silence. That was one of the nice things. And so to me, being retired gives me more flexibility in how my day works. I can structure it in a lot of ways to what suits me. And because I'm a creature of habit, hence everything works the same way a lot of the time. Now, I will say that getting the 4 grandkids has done a number on my consistency, because as they were babies, they did as they pleased. And as they've grown and gotten to be toddlers, they do as they please still. And plus, we also have to factor in what the parents want out of things. And there's a resource contention with one set of grandparents and multiple grandkids. And we have a limit of 2 at any given time, and preferably from the same family, if we can do it that way. But to the extent that you can develop a good habit of attending meetings, and then take that a little bit further to develop a good habit of whether it's tracking on a daily basis, or tracking the majority of your week, or food prepping, whether you track it or don't track it. If you've prepped it, you've kind of fought the battle on the front end of things, and you just sort of saw it through to the end as you ate those things that you tracked. It builds an easy repetition. And to the extent that the repetition is easy, you're going to want to continue to do it, or you're not going to fight having to do it. But I never felt like I had to do any of this. It felt like I wanted to do it. And we'll get into some of the reasons for that maybe as we go further along.
Yes, for me, it's important. Like, if I want to be consistent, I have to define what kind of consistency I can do. Like, what does, if I do this 3 times a week, if I do this 3 months, Is that consistent? Like, even within a year, how many times I'm doing something so it can be consistent. So for example, if in a month I go to eat out, I don't know, 7 times, 8 times, I think that I'm more consistently eating at home. Even if I'm putting leftovers together, right? Because I'm eating at home, I'm able to control the portion better. So for me, it's very important to know what does consistency means to me in that moment, because consistency can mean different things, Candice. To me, is what does consistency mean? I can get very frustrated if I'm eating high pointed foods and not tracking them. But then I said, you know what? I just didn't track them 3 times. I have been tracking more than that. So I'm consistently, and then once I remind myself that I'm consistently tracking, then it's okay if I don't track them, because I'm consistently tracking. It's kind of like when I was in college, and like you said, Jay, I don't have time to complain about the bad grade. I have to study whatever I got, the mistakes I made on the test, because the final is final. I have to pass the final exam. So I don't have time to complain and fight. I just need to learn what I didn't so I can use it later. So same thing, like what got in the way of my consistency? Was it embarrassment? Was it shame? Was it my lacking of recognizing my emotions that make me feel guilty when I was eating something? So it could be so many things. So for me, it's just, again, I have to enjoy what I'm doing, because then I'm more relaxed and I'm able to see the consistency or the things that I'm doing most of the time, and let go of the things that I do a few times that I'm not proud to talk about, right? But it's only a few times, and I can override it with the majority of what I do.
Which sounds like let go of perfection and focus on more often than not. I feel like there's a theme here, because that's true. You know, because I think for me, I've viewed it again as all the time I'm doing this, you know, as opposed to more often than not I'm doing this.
And that's something, because when we do something that we think we should not be doing, we generalize it. Oh, I always do that. But it's really that we're always doing that.
Right.
So when you have that reality check conversation, you realize, like, man, I fell for it. You know, I had to say, Pepe, no, I don't do that all the time. What are you talking about? I only did it a few times, and that way of talking to yourself can help you go back to what you consistently do. If we make lists of the things we do for the journey, we will be so happy and proud.
Yeah.
But we're always thinking of what we wish we would do, or how we wish we could do it differently, instead of enjoying what we're doing and recognizing what we're doing.
Yeah, I love that.
Go ahead, Jay. I think one of the things that I heard in what Gigi was just saying, and I try to always remember, is that we're quick to always find fault in ourselves. And if there's something that we do bad one time, we're going to remember that forever. And it's going to feel like it's something that we always do every time. And whereas on the opposite of that, there's something that we do routinely well, whether it's measuring, whether it's exercising, activity, whether it's being out and about, whether it's socializing, widening a circle of friends, and being more just interested in what it is that you're eating rather than eating mindlessly. Yes. We never give ourselves credit for those things, and we never spend a minute thinking about those things. Those are just sort of supposed to be there, but that one bad thing that you do, you can just hold on to that forever. And it seems like it's the only thing that you've ever been doing. And you've got to just take a step back and remember all the good things that you do, or all the things that weren't as bad as that one thing that's driving you crazy for the moment. Because I think we all suffer from that.
Yeah.
And I think that the other piece of that I appreciate you sharing, Gigi, was the learning from it. Because I think, Jay, you're right. We totally are so hard on ourselves for the things we do wrong, but then we don't take it as an opportunity to learn. We just remember it and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. And then we move on and we do it again.
Right.
But I love that thoughtfulness of remembering it and changing it, and so that it can be a more positive thing in the future. You know?
And to dig a little deeper, like how many times we fell for it, like even driving, how many times take the same hole in the road, pothole, that's what you call it.
Yeah.
Right? How many times you take it, and then there's a day that you say, oh, there's a pothole, and then you drive around it and you're so pumped because you remember. But how many times I was afraid that I had to change my tire because it was so hard, right? Why I cannot learn. And that feeling of, oh, I got it, it got me again, it helps you to remember that setback and then be proactive and think about how to overcome it, and then eventually you drive around it. So I like that you pointed that out, because it's important. We don't want to do anything wrong, but the things that I'm very good at is because it took time for me to find my way of doing things.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've heard a lot of people who have made it to Lifetime talk about is really the new challenge of maintaining versus losing, right? Okay. Because when you're on a weight, most of my journey, all of my journey has been about being focused on the number and getting the reinforcement with seeing the weight and the scale go down. You get everyone knows I'm a sticker person. I want my 5-pound star and I want my Bravo star, but when you're at Lifetime, I would think there's different ways that you have to celebrate kind of success. The success may be the number staying the same every week, or being able to. So how did you all kind of deal with, or what had surprised you the most about having to make the transition to maintain versus lose, and how that process is from changing your mindset from a weight loss mindset to a weight maintenance mindset?
I'll start, Jay, because
Sure.
This one, it was so tricky for me because I wanted to keep losing weight.
Yeah.
After I reached my Lifetime. So I never allowed my coach, even though I loved her, I never allowed her to coach me through my maintenance process. And yes, I was within the 2 pounds at the end of 8 weeks, but I wanted to keep losing weight. So I didn't pay attention to those 6 weeks, right? And even I had to kind of like really coach myself and be very mindful that it's not about one number anymore. It's about a range, and your body's gonna change every day. It's okay to eat foods. You don't have to be, eat the foods that you like, incorporate them and things like that. So for me, it was giving me permission to really eat a little bit more and focus on how I was feeling. That feeling is what helped me to really forget about chasing the number, because after I reached Lifetime, I was going up and down, above my goal, below my goal. It was really frustrating for me because I could not maintain my weight. And when I was able to maintain it, it was not my Lifetime goal. It was my happy weight goal, that I could eat the same things, do the same. I found my routine. You see, I found my routine, my go-to foods, and I could go out with my mommy friends, and I could take my son to his things, swimming, whatever he was doing, and I was maintaining beautifully. But it was when I took the focus away and I went by how I was feeling. Is this really my happy weight? Is this my uncomfortable weight? So let me go back to losing mode to go back to my happy feeling. But it took me a lot of coaches because I moved to Ohio shortly after I did Lifetime, and it took me a considerably long time to find the meeting that I felt as comfortable as I was in Virginia when I lost my weight. How about you, Jay?
Well, let's see. How do we tackle this one? I would say, first off, I ended up with a doctor's assigned Lifetime goal, not a Weight Watchers lifetime goal. So let's start from that point. And the difference is important because for me to have made my Weight Watchers assigned a lifetime goal, I probably would have still needed to have lost another 30 pounds or so. And at the time, I I thought, yeah, I could lose another 30 pounds, maybe. But I also thought I would be really, really, really emaciated is not the right word, but I can't think of a different word. And, I would end up being about 195 pounds. And I'm 6'3", and I'm a big boned guy, as they like to say, as I like to say. And I think when they carry me out of this world, there's probably going to be, 180 pounds in that casket that they carry out, regardless of anything I did anytime, for being sick or anything else. So I think that there's just a set amount that's there. So I had to get a number that I was comfortable with. And so I came up with, talking to my doctor with the doctor's number, and I came back and I talked with Noel at the time at the 7 o'clock meeting, and we chose that number and we fixed it. And so when I hit that number, you're supposed to flip that little switch, and then you're supposed to say, okay, now I'm going to be maintaining, I'm not going to be losing anymore. Well, the truth is I kept on losing because A, it had worked, and B, theoretically, I had another 30 pounds or so to lose. And while I didn't think I could lose another 30 pounds, or I should lose another 30 pounds, I wasn't going to kill myself if I lost another 10. And then if I lost another 10, that'd be like 12 pounds I could go up down from month to month or anything else. And so I eventually settled at about 20 pounds under what I thought was the lowest I could possibly be. My doctor's goal was a challenge, and I got to it. And then as time went by the end of that year, and I made doctor's goal in about, I think, August or so. And by the time December came around, I was probably 20 pounds under that doctor's goal. But I was making my wife nervous. I was getting those sidelong glances like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Where's that other woman? What's happening? All of these sort of horrible things for just trying to take care of yourself are starting to, sort of come into the corner of her eye. And so I just sort of had to back off it a little bit. And as time has gone by, I've kind of done what Gigi has said as the pandemic hit, as we got through the grandkids, as we went through a couple medical crises here in the family. The weight has drifted back up to where I'm now probably 7 or 8 pounds over my lifetime goal. And so they're banging me for $14.95 a month, and I'm glad to pay it. And I'm struggling now to sort of back it back down, the 2 pounds, the 2 pounds, the 2 pounds to get it back to, the number that I need to A, be, cost free, and then B, to try to push it down another 10 beyond that. But somehow this will be the third time for me around with hitting my lifetime number. It's just harder as you get older. It's not any easier as you're younger in doing it, but as you add age into it and all the other things that come with that people don't tend to talk about, medications and so forth, it becomes more of a challenge. But you do, like Gigi says, have to find the spot where you're happiest, regardless of what WW calls it or what the people in the group cheer for or anything else. If they're like my group at 7:30 now, they'll cheer for you. They're not going to cheer for a number. They'll be cheering for you. And that's what you got to focus on.
Well said.
So that brings me to the one other question. So how have the meetings impacted you, Jay, with you being a part of the meetings, still in person all these years and through many years of maintenance, staying at your meeting, and Gigi with you leading them, but also, being a part of them yourself? What is the impact of meetings on you?
I still remember, I'm not attending workshops as often as I should or as I want because of my scheduling, but I make a point to sit in a virtual, right? and listen and really be a member. And I love learning through other members' experiences and celebrating their successes. Until this day, if you go to my workshops, you probably hear me telling you stories about things that I heard in 2012 when I was a member in my meeting room. I remember our Ken in our workshop, and him walking me through my first panic, like, oh, my husband wants to take me to eat out, and I'm afraid. And he was like, just eat salmon, Gigi. Just eat salmon, make sure, you know. And he was like telling me, and they will put the dessert in shot glasses. That's what my wife does, you know. And he gave me so many tips, and I never remembered that meal that I had with my husband, and I was so confident because Ken told me that I could do it, right? And my lady friends, like, I remember when bringing her hula hoop and putting it together. One time that we were talking about activity, and she started putting it together, and then she started hula hooping, and I was like, I want to be like that. I want to enjoy the way that my body moves. And I wish that they see this, because they said, Gigi still remember us? I cannot believe that. I thought she moved like 12 years ago. They still impact the way that I live, the way that I want to be when I'm older, the things I want to do when my son get married. I want to be like those retired people that took this stay-at-home mom and turned her into someone that finally learned through some other people's experiences. And they taught me so much. And it's so powerful. The in-person, seeing their faces, their expressions, the way that they knew when I gained weight or I lost weight, because I was not as talkative when I gained weight. And then the way that they let me be, the way my leader, Mary Kay, will let my son make noises so I could be relaxed and focus in the workshop, because I wanted my son to be perfect, and he was only 2 years old. That I will never forget that way that I felt so welcome and supported. That's why I'm a coach. I want to give this to everybody that goes to my workshops, because that really helped me to be the Gigi I am today. I could be myself with them. They let me be myself. And I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, that you did. It just sounds like the power of community is just incredibly significant there.
Yes.
What about you, Jay?
I guess I would say I really, in order to feel like I'm part of this, I have to keep doing it every week. And I don't want it to sound like I'm part of a support system that's there for some other vice that might be out there. But food is an addiction, the same as other types of substances can be an addiction if you want to come down to it. And I think it reminds me every week that I've got to consciously be aware of what I'm doing, and that I can't just pretend that it doesn't matter, because it does matter. It matters to my body. I've seen the results of that. And it matters to how I feel about me.
Yeah.
Okay. And it matters to the things that I want to do. At 70 years old, you are going to have the opportunity to travel, but you have to have the health to be able to travel.
Yes.
Okay. And so to the extent that you can make your body move and you become accustomed to moving, and to the extent that you are happy to share those experiences with the same people that you see in those meetings, it's a good thing. And to the extent that people can kind of live vicariously through what you've said or what you tell them you're going to do, again, it's a positive to you. And it reminds you that whether you like it or not, I think we can all go to those meetings and we can sit there and say, it wouldn't matter if I was here if I wasn't here. It wouldn't matter to me, and I'm just not going to come anymore. But the real truth is, it's not that it doesn't matter to you. It does. But really, it matters to the other people that are there. And just as Gigi, you talked about I talked about Ken, however many number of years ago, telling you about how to handle that first dinner date with your husband after WW started. There are all kinds of people that rely on Rikki showing up, Candice showing up, Gigi, you showing up, occasionally me showing up, to hear what the stories are, and to really sort of pick your brain and to just get encouragement, or if nothing else, just to get a pat on the back, a hug, some warmth,
Yeah.
to let them know that whatever happened is okay. There's going to be another day, there's going to be another week, there's going to be another month, the sun's going to come up. But you have to be there to be a part of that. And that's what I like about the live meetings. And I know you can do the same community in the virtual meetings, but it's just not quite as touchy-feely, in the good sense of the word, I'll quickly add, as you might want it to be, or I might want it to be.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I agree that the in person, there's an element of seeing them, seeing their expressions, being,
Yeah.
let them hug you, or they letting you hug you, and
Right.
it cannot be mimicked, right? But I'm grateful that I'm there for members that cannot do it in person.
Right.
And
Yeah.
when I remember their names, or I did remember their stories as a coach, and I see that, you remember me, and I'm like, yes, I made her feel like the way I felt in my workshop, because I think that's the impact of Weight Watchers, is that what else are you going to tell them, that you are down because you ate a whole thing of cookies? And so you ate it. It's okay. Keep moving. Not everybody understands the way you feel. But in Weight Watchers, we have that thing in common. And that, even in virtuals, right, we get it. But I agree with Jay. In person, like having to wait one whole week, remembering and wanting to know that way in with the guide at the scale. And I don't know, there's something about in person that is very, very personal. It's very personal, but I'm glad that we have the virtual, and I have seen our effort as coaches and community supports, right, to support members and make it meaningful for them as well.
And as someone who's benefited, hopefully you all can hear me. I know I've been having some issues, but as someone who's benefited from both being in meetings, and now I have a little guy, he's 5. And so I have like sports activities in the mornings on Saturdays and stuff. And my, going through cancer treatment, as I'm breast cancer survivor. I do miss it, but I've been able to also benefit, Gigi, like you said, from the virtuals. I go while I'm on my Peloton. Yes. One of the benefits of the virtuals is that you can go to as many as you want to. I'm on like a meeting every hour or so because it's good background. Just to hear people share, that community has always been the thing that for me set Weight Watchers apart from some of the other programs, was being able to connect. When I was in person, to see Jay and to see him across the street, or to meet Rikki and Aaron. We met in the meeting room. We got kicked out, like I said, because we were chatting, and then we went to the parking lot. The whole story of how the podcast started was from the meeting room. But, I know that we are, running out of time, but there's something that I always wondered, and that's there's an acceptance that has to happen. I feel that this is for life. And I'll never forget, a coach had said that at one point, that her trajectory changed when she accepted that there was no end, that there was no, I've gotten to goal and that's it. Because I felt when I started that there was some end that there was going to be. I was going to hit goal and that was it. But I was just curious, how did you all manage or get to that acceptance that this is for life? And what did that look like for you? Was that something that you accepted pretty early on? And Jay, now that you've had several times getting to lifetime, and Gigi, I don't know much about if yours was just a one time you hit it and you've just been there. But how have you all grown to have you all grown to accept that it's for life? And if so, what was that process like for you? Was it hard for you to accept that?
I'll jump in, Gigi, if you don't mind. It wasn't hard for me to accept it because I kind of knew it. I knew that left to my own devices, things did not turn out well. And I knew that because there was a gap of probably 5 or 6 years between the first time I made Lifetime and then probably, in all honesty, the next time I thought about Weight Watchers, it got ugly. I thought I knew it. I thought I had it all figured out. I thought, okay, I'm there, got the prize, grabbed the gold ring, let's go. And it doesn't work that way. And I think in a lot of ways, life doesn't work that way. As you just get older, you sort of come to that realization, or you're drugged to that realization. And when I came back the second time, I knew it had to be differently. So I knew it had to be not only for an immediate goal, because you guys remember the seersucker suit and wanting to dress up for my daughter's upcoming wedding in August, and I drug myself in there on January 3rd or something, and proclaimed I was going to lose 70 pounds, and that was that. And thank you very much. Good night, ladies. And y'all love me for that. And then I proceeded to lose 70 pounds by August and wear that seersucker suit. And then y'all love me for that, which I really appreciated. But it does become a way of life, and you can't unlearn it when you've done it for a certain period of time. And when you've done it with conviction and you've tried each week to sort of get a little bit better at what it is that you're doing, it affects how you think about a lot of things, food being one of those things and only one of those things. But that's why, to me, it's got to be a lifetime commitment, and that's okay. That's actually reassuring. It's not daunting.
Yes, for me, I started working for Weight Watchers immediately after I become a lifetime member, because according to my crew, my Tuesday workshop, they said that I had to do it, otherwise I'm gonna be joining multiple times like they all have. And that's really what have kept me on my happy way, Candice, right? I think I have been on my lifetime goal maybe 3 times. And then after my dad passed years ago, I have been on a weight uncertainty. But that's what, when you were talking about consistency, is what is giving me grace, that I'm going through changes right now. I'm going to say the word menopause, right? And I'm just relearning how my body's changing, and knowing that I'm tracking consistently, knowing that I'm cooking consistently, I'm eating at home consistently. I'm more mindful when I eat out. I'm mindful about my movement. And I have been kept with those habits. Helps me say, I'm doing what I have been doing. Let me just tweak 1 or 2 things at a time to give enough time to see how it goes. But at this stage, I cannot be focused on the number on the scale. Not even on I'm above my happy weight. But even though I'm a little bit uncomfortable, I find comfort on the habits that I'm still doing, and I'm willing to keep on doing for the rest of my life. And I know, because I know this program, I will lose the weight. I just have to be patient. Right. I just have to be patient and really notice how consistent I am with my behaviors, the good example that I'm giving to my son, to those around me when I teach fitness classes. I'm more than a body shape or a number on the scale. I'm my behaviors, and that helps me to understand it for the rest of my life, regardless of how much I weigh.
Well, you guys have given us, so many nuggets of wisdom.
I want to talk to them for like another hour or 2. Like, this is the problem. I feel like we need a part 2. So much words of wisdom, right?
Yes. This has been so meaningful. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for just sharing your knowledge with the community. And we just want to just open it up to our community to share. Those of you who are in the Facebook group and who are also experiencing lifetime, just join in about what it's been like for you. And if you can relate to Gigi and Jay. And Gigi and Jay, thank you again for joining us. We just really appreciate you. And we're going to put information about them in the show notes so you can, learn a little bit more about them and get connected to Gigi's meetings if you would like to. But Candice, if anyone wants to get connected to us, you want to share how they can do that?
Always. We've made it so easy for you. You can look for Real WW Talk on any of your platforms. Go to Facebook, put in Real WW Talk, answer a few questions so we make sure you're not a bot or a spammer. We'll let you in to join the over 11,000 people who are in that group. It's a very, very uplifting group. So you're not going to get any pushback. Very, very supportive. Instagram, same thing. Search Real WW Talk. Our joke is, yes, we are on Connect. At least Rikki and I are. Have we checked it recently? No, we have not. So if you've messaged us there, we probably have not responded. But that's only because I can only handle so many social media platforms. But we are on Connect, and also you can send us an email at realwwtalk@gmail.com. And if you want to see Jay, you can go to the 7:30 meeting. I think it's still in Columbia, right? I think so.
It is still in Columbia. Yeah,
okay. He's going to be right there every single week unless there's something else going on.
And
so
I will be sitting in the third seat from the front.
But
and if anyone takes my seat, we're going to tangle.
Ask him yourself. He'll be right there.
I want to go to Colombia.
It's worth the trip. Let's all come together. We can get kicked out of the meeting. Well, they won't kick you out because you're a coach, but like they can kick us out for talking too much. So. But yeah, you can find us there. And we also want to say thank you to everyone who has supported the podcast. If you do want to, as we say, buy us a cup of coffee, it does cost to do this, but we are just grateful for you all for supporting. It's been 5 years of doing this. We can't believe it. It's our 5th year. So it's been a pleasure just being in your ears. If you take us on a walk, find us on any platform that you stream your podcasts. We'll be there. And even though Real WW Talk Plus is not going to be anymore, at least for this year, you'll be able to hear us throughout, like I said, forever. We'll be here for a while. So is there anything else? I think I got it all right. Did I miss any of the platforms? I'm proud of you. Good job. Yes.
Good job. All right, everyone have a great week.
See y'all later. Bye-bye. Nice to meet you, Gigi.